profoundly the two were taken with each other. Mort sensed a strong and immediate connection, and he wasn't mistaken. That first meeting initiated an exchange between Millie and me, a conversational thread that would be picked up over the course of subsequent encounters. Millie has inspired, encouraged, and commiserated with me. She has brought into sharper focus my personal understanding of such concepts as commitment, passion, dedication, suffering, perseverance, love, loyalty, and hope. Millie has taught me that one's dignity may be assaulted, vandalized, and cruelly mocked, but cannot be taken away unless it is surrendered. Physically weakened, but possessed of a fierce inner strength, Millie Kondracke has weathered immeasurable loss. But that is one sacrifice she is not prepared to make. What is truly remarkable is that Millie has shared so much with me without ever uttering one clearly audible word. Robbed of the freedom to express her ideas, feelings, and desires, she's bursting with all three. Millie's powerful presence, combined with the depth of our common experience as Parkinson's patients, accounts for her ability to communicate so much to me in the time we've spent together. While prior to picking up this book you probably knew a little bit about me, and presumably something about Mort, it's a safe bet you knew nothing at all about Millie. Once you read her story, you'll never forget her. At its core, this is a love story, poignantly told. Mort writes of his devotion to Millie with eloquence and surprising candor. From the more intimate details of their virginity to Viagra romance, to the strengthening of his commitment, as together they face the cataclysm of Parkinson's disease. Thank you, Mort, for saving Millie. And thank you, Millie, for the love and passion you've inspired in others. I believe, as do you and Mort, that a cure for Parkinson's disease is very close, and in a very real way, you've brought it that much closer. So, who's saving whom? Michael J. Fox, New York City, February 2001. Introduction. Parkinson's disease has kidnapped my wife. It is in the process of killing her. I hug and kiss what is left of her, hang photographs of the old, strong Millie throughout the house, and talk to her. We hold hands. We make love. But she is not who she was. She cannot walk, and now she can barely speak. She is being carried into an abyss, and I am helpless to rescue her. I hate Parkinson's disease for what it has done to my beloved, and is doing to 1 million other Americans. It is a horrible story I have to tell you, but it is also an inspiring one. For what I had, and what I still have, I feel profound gratitude. Millicent Martinez was a poor inner-city Chicago kid who grew up to be a dynamo. I wanted to marry an heiress from the Ivy League, but she was irresistible. Besides, I became convinced that God wanted this marriage to happen. So we married. Then we fought and loved each other in one way for 20 years, and in quite another for the past 13. Until she was 47, Millie was always the master of her surroundings, the kind of woman whose will no bureaucrat, lazy tradesman, or alcoholic husband could resist. She saved Andrea, our youngest daughter, who's dyslexic, from being discarded by the school system. Andrea is now graduating from medical school at Johns Hopkins. Millie emptied my liquor bottles down the drain and railed until I went into AA, which changed my life and may have saved it. Millie's Parkinson's diagnosis in 1988 shattered her confidence, but it did not stop her from fighting. A gifted psychotherapist who helped people remake their lives, she worked as long as she could. She underwent 2 day-long deep brain operations, awake throughout. She importuned a president, testified before Congress, and cried in senators' offices to secure increased funding for Parkinson's research. Her plight transformed me. From her resentful assistant, I became her dedicated partner. I came out of self-absorption and became an activist in the cause of medical research funding, not just for Parkinson's, but for all diseases. I call that cause God's work. It has heroes and heroines, and it is succeeding. If Congress and the President continue on the path of the past 3 years, they will double the budget of the National Institutes of Health. Then they should do it again. Millie's disease destroyed her trust in God. She feels that He is punishing her, but she does not know why. Parkinson's has had a different effect on my faith. I feel that I need to talk to God every day and ask for His help. Every time I have asked God what my job on earth is, the answer I've always received is, "Take care of Millie." But I cannot save her. If God can, He has not shown it. Without God's intervention, a cure for Parkinson's will arrive too late to save Millie. Brain scientists say that enough is known that this disease could be cured in 5 to 10 years, if adequate resources are devoted to the task. Despite the general increase in medical research funding, those resources are not yet going to Parkinson's. There is reason to hope that this will change as my friend Michael J. Fox leads the struggle to secure research funding. Millie increasingly cannot swallow. Within a year or two, but maybe less, we will face the issue of whether she should be sustained through a feeding tube. She can stay alive, but she is likely to be a prisoner in her body, able to understand but unable to communicate. She says, "I do not want to live this way, but I am afraid to die." I am terrified of losing her. I do not know how this story ends. Chapter 1. Marry Millie. "Marry Millie," Joan Kehoe whispered in my ear. Then she repeated it, more insistently. We were at an Italian restaurant, Ricardo's, the favorite martini lunch spot for reporters at the Chicago Sun-Times in the 1960s. This may have been the only dinner I ever had there. Joan had introduced me to Millicent Martinez a few months before. We were a fairly large and noisy group, and Millie was sitting out of earshot as Joan importuned me. She also couldn't see the quizzical look on my face, which betrayed what was in my mind. Marry Millie? Out of the question. Not that I didn't like her. I did. She was pretty. She was self-assured. And she was exotic, half Mexican and half Jewish. But she did not fit my life's plan, which was to become a big-shot Washington journalist. I figured that the person I planned to be someday should have a Vassar or Wellesley graduate for a wife, or possibly an heiress, a woman whose family connections and intellectually stimulating company could help me attain the goal. Eventually, Millie overwhelmed this stupid idea. Eventually, I realized that, wherever I went in life, I would regret it the whole way if she were not with me. So, ultimately, I followed Joan's advice. And thanks to that, I've lived a love story. But the decision took a while, and God had a hand in it. In the first instance, though, Joan Smith, formerly Kehoe, deserves the credit. She eventually got a Ph.D. in sociology and went on to become a professor of women's studies and a dean at the University of Vermont. In 1964, though, Joan was an Irish-American housewife and mother who was finishing college, abandoning her straight-laced cultural roots and serving as spokesperson for the civil rights movement in Chicago. I was a fresh-faced 25-year-old reporter for the Sun-Times who wanted to cover civil rights and politics, and meet women. Originally, I knew Joan just on the phone. She sounded so warm, I wanted to date her, and